For most people, semiconductors are invisible. You don't see them, you don't think about them, but they power everything. Your phone, your laptop, your car, your entire digital life. And right now, they've become one of the most important strategic assets in the world, which is why the United States is pushing so hard to control chip production. On the surface, it looks like an economic move. Build more factories, invest in local manufacturing, support domestic companies. But the real reason goes much deeper. Because this isn't just about business, it's about control, power, and the future of technology itself. To understand why the US wants control over chip production, you have to start with one key idea. Chips are the foundation of modern power. Every major industry depends on them. Technology, defense, healthcare, energy. Without chips, nothing works. And that creates a vulnerability. Because most advanced chips are not made in the United States, they're made overseas, primarily in Taiwan. And that concentration creates risk. If something disrupts that supply, politically, economically, or militarily, the impact would be massive. Entire industries could slow down or stop. Critical systems could be affected, and that's not a risk any major country wants to take. So the first reason the US wants control over chip production is simple: supply security. It's about making sure that no matter what happens globally, the country can still access the technology it depends on, because without that, everything else becomes fragile. The second reason is geopolitical power. Semiconductors are no longer just a product. They're a strategic tool. The country that controls advanced chip production has influence over others. It can restrict access, set standards, shape the global tech landscape. And we've already seen this in action. Export controls, restrictions on advanced chip sales, limits on certain technologies. These aren't just economic policies, they're strategic moves. And they only work if you control the supply. So by strengthening its position in chip production, the US increases its leverage, not just economically, but politically. Another major reason is competition. The global tech race is accelerating, especially in areas like AI. And AI depends heavily on advanced chips, training models, running data centers, powering intelligence systems. All of it requires high-performance semiconductors, so the country that leads in chip production has an advantage in AI, and the US wants to maintain that lead, because falling behind in chips means falling behind in AI, and falling behind in AI has long-term consequences. Economic, military, and technological. That's why this push is happening now, because the stakes are increasing. There's also an economic reason. Semiconductors are a massive industry, trillions of dollars in value, high-paying jobs, advanced manufacturing, innovation. By bringing more production back home, the US captures more of that value, strengthens its economy, and builds long-term industrial capability. But it's not just about jobs or revenue, it's about independence. For years, the global chip supply chain was built for efficiency. Different countries handled different parts, design in one place, manufacturing in another, assembly somewhere else. It worked well until it didn't. Disruptions exposed how fragile that system could be, and now countries are rethinking that model, moving from efficiency to resilience. And that means bringing critical production closer to home. Another key factor is technological leadership. Advanced chip manufacturing is incredibly complex. Only a few companies in the world can do it at the highest level, and maintaining that capability requires constant investment, research, infrastructure, talent. If the US loses that capability, it becomes dependent on others not just for supply, but for innovation, and that's a long-term risk. So investing in domestic production isn't just about today, it's about maintaining leadership in the future. There's also a defense angle. Modern military systems rely on advanced electronics, communication systems, surveillance, weapons, cyber capabilities, all powered by chips, and relying on external sources for critical components introduces risk, supply disruptions, security concerns, potential vulnerabilities. So having domestic control over chip production is also a matter of national security. It ensures that critical systems can be built, maintained, and upgraded without external dependency. Another important piece of this strategy is supply chain control. Chips aren't made in one step. They require a complex network of materials, equipment, and processes. Design, fabrication, packaging, testing. Each stage involves different players, so controlling chip production isn't just about building factories, it's about influencing the entire ecosystem, from raw materials to final products. And that's what the US is trying to do: strengthen its position across the entire chain, reduce reliance on external partners, and increase control over critical components. But here's the key point: the US isn't trying to control everything. That's not realistic. The global supply chain is too complex, too interconnected. Instead, the goal is balance: to reduce risk, to maintain influence, to ensure access, and to stay competitive. That's why you're seeing massive investments, new chip factories, government incentives, support for domestic companies, partnerships with allies. Because this isn't a short-term move, it's a long-term strategy. And it's not happening in isolation. Other countries are doing the same. Europe, China, Japan, everyone is investing in semiconductors. Because everyone understands the same thing: chips are no longer just a component, they're infrastructure, critical infrastructure. And the countries that control that infrastructure shape the future. So when you hear that the US wants to control chip production, it's not just about economics, it's about security, power, independence, and leadership in the next era of technology. Because in a world driven by digital systems, AI, and advanced computing, the real power doesn't just come from software, it comes from the hardware that makes it all possible. And that's exactly what the US is trying to secure.